Hello. Hello there. I hope you guys can hear me okay. If you are on, if you would tell us your name and where you're coming in from, that'd be awesome.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Bertie Latonder. I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Awesome. Welcome, Bertie. And who else do we have here and where are you coming in from? Okay. We have a bunch of shy people. If you are just joining us, tell us where you're calling in from, what your name is. Hello there.
Hi,
Hi. Okay, tell us your name and where you're coming in from.
Stephanie. I'm from Finland.
Hello.
Hi.
What did you say?
Can you hear me? No. From Finland,
Finland.
Stephanie.
Wonderful, Stephanie. Welcome. All right, tell us what's your name and where you're coming in from. I see Hazel from the Philippines. Welcome, Hazel. My goodness, we have a lot of shy people on today. Either that or they're just, they muted themselves and took off their video because they're going to the bathroom or something. I don't know what's happening. Hello, if you're just joining us, tell us your name and where you're coming in from. Hey, Adriana from South Africa. How are you? Hi, Deanna.
Hi, Christina. Do you mind if I set in on some of this that I missed last evening?
Of course not.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, sure. No problem. No problem at all. Hello, Kimberly. Kim from Wichita, Kansas. That's my sister. All right, if you're just joining us, tell us your name and where you're coming in from. Hi there. If you're just joining us, tell us your name and where you're coming in from.
It's Anna from Alberta, Canada.
Hi, Anna. How are you?
I'm good. I really like the company.
Oh, good. I was going to say, I think this is double duty for you too.
Yes.
Cool.
When I could, I really love it. Thank you, Christine.
Yes, you're welcome. All right, who else do we have on?
Hi, Christine.
Hi there, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
All
She's
right.
coming on. She's coming on. She just forgot to load Zoom.
Oh, okay, I get it now. All right, so
We're
tell
still old
everybody
school.
where you're coming in from.
Okay, I'm Delisha van Deventer and I'm from South Africa. We're just a little bit, about a half an hour away from Johannesburg, not too far away. So lovely hot weather here. Yeah. So,
You know, we have another one. Adriana is very close to you. She's close to Johannesburg too.
is it? Where's she from?
I can't remember. Adriana, where are you from again?
Hi, it's Audrey. I am from Sasolburg.
Oh, Sasolburg. Yeah, that's quite a way away. It's about over an hour's drive, hey?
Yeah, about an hour.
Yeah, about an hour's drive. Nice to be on, Christine. Thank you so much.
Yes, thanks for joining us, Delicia.
Thank you.
Hello. Okay, so if you're just joining us, tell us your name, where you're coming in from.
Hi, my name is Jolanda. I'm from New Jersey.
Hello, Jolanda. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you, Christine?
Doing pretty well.
Thank you for the last week class. It was wonderful.
Oh, good. I'm so glad it was a blessing. Yes,
It was.
hopefully today will be just as good.
Man.
Awesome. All right. So if you're just joining us, tell us your name and where you're coming in from.
Karen Cook. Karen Cook, Uric, Missouri.
Yay. Hi, Karen.
Hello.
All right. All right. Who else do we have here? Tell us your name and where you're coming in from.
Hi, Jane from the UK.
Hi, Jane. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good, thanks. You?
Great.
Yeah, great to be on this again.
Yes, good. Thank you.
Hi, Christine. It's Deborah Beck from Jacksonville, Florida.
Hi, Deborah. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Great. Good. And looks like we have Pat Garbuck from Oshawa, Ontario. Blessings to you too. And then Greg from DFW, Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. And he said he is stopping by to listen on anything that he missed from yesterday. Connie from Pennsylvania. Great. Thanks for joining us. Who else do we have here? Give us your name and where you're coming in from.
Hi, Christina. Yvonne from Delaware.
Hi, Yvonne. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
That's good.
Good. All right. Who else do we have here? Tell us your name and where you're coming in from. All right. Still got some shy ones. Okay, if you guys don't mind, I'm going to wait just 2 more minutes and let people hop on. I know that several people have had a little trouble getting on Zoom for their first time, so I'm going to let everybody do that. So tell us your name and where you're coming in from.
Hi, Christine. This is Diane. I'm coming from Louisiana.
Hi, Diane. How are you?
I am getting better. Thank you.
Good. Good. Great. All right. Who else do we have on? Tell us your name and where you're coming in from.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm David. I'm coming from South Africa.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, and you?
Good. You got on at the right time.
Yes.
All these time differences, I tell you guys. I know that everyone thinks I'm like, I have this magical time conversion thing going on, and I'm like, I don't even know where you're from. I don't get it. And so I have to go to timeanddate.com or my world clock and figure it out myself. So anyway, I even told someone the wrong time today, and I'm like, oh no, wait, that's the opposite time. So anyway, I'm glad you guys are on. So tell us, I'm just going to start in just a minute. So if you'll tell us what your name is and where you're calling in from, that'd be awesome. All right. Well, I guess everybody's ready. So let's get started, shall we? Okay. Well, just so you know, here's kind of what's going to happen. I'm going to do a teaching, and then after that, we'll have a time for questions and answers. If you have anything that you feel kind of is a pressing question, then you can put it on the group chat. I'm going to mute everybody right now. And then if you do have a question for the question and answers, then you can just raise your hand or put it in the chat box. And then after we do the questions and answers, then we'll be able to have a time where we engage in heaven together. So, excuse me, I'm getting over a little bit of a cough. Yesterday, I thought I just had some scratchiness in my throat. And then last night I got this full-blown sickness, and I was like, no, this is not staying here. And so anyway, I was blessed this morning after I was just engaging in heaven and trying to get my healing and get in my place of rest and all of that. Then this morning I woke up and I was way better. And so I'm very excited because I was like, I don't know, I'm going to teach another class. And so now I feel great. And so it'll be good. But I still do have a little bit of a cough. So if I cough, please forgive me. And I have my water next to me, so I'll be drinking up the whole time probably. And Kim, my sister, is joining us. She is not going to be talking probably because she has had some sickness too and doesn't have much of a voice left right now. And so she's going to be doing the typing and stuff for me because she's amazing like that. But next week, hopefully, she'll actually do the teaching. So that will be great. She has such a gift, and she has a very strong relationship with the Lord and has been walking in the heavenly places with me this whole time. So it's been a real blessing to have her here. So looks like Kim says, so true, but I will answer any questions you might have. Yes, and also Terry said, hi everyone, Terry here. I woke up sick too. All right, it's not staying. Don't claim that that's staying. What we're going to do is you'll have some time to just soak in the Lord today, hopefully. So, yes. All right. Well, here, I'm going to get started. So today I wanted to talk about cleansing, and I don't know if you guys have been through this. We're going to talk about a few different things that have to do with cleansing, the way that God has led me through cleansing. Note, I'm sure there are many other ways, but he's just led me through these 3 different ways in the heavenly places. And so hopefully that will be helpful for you. And I'll tell you, I don't really think I said this yesterday, and I wish I would have, but let's be clear. We don't need to get clean to get to God. He's the one who cleans us up. And so as long as we're going through Jesus and we're just having our crud taken care of by him, he's the one who cleans us up, and then we can be a pure sacrifice to the Lord. And so I just, I love having that. I love having clarity in things. I love having the enemy totally not messing with me. It's wonderful when that can happen. And so sometimes we have blockages in our life and we don't even understand why. And it's because we haven't gone through different cleansing things to help us be clear on in what we're doing and in our relationship with God. And so first of all, if you guys can show me, at least you guys with video, if you guys can show me by raising your hand, maybe if you have heard of gateway cleansing. Anybody? Okay. So, okay, we have 1. All right. 2. We have some people who have heard. 3 people. All right, great. Well, I'm going to show you a great chart that has really helped me. I've had a lot of people. Okay, we have some more. Great. I have a lot of people who say, hey, what do I do? I'm not hearing in the spirit. Or, hey, I don't know what to do. I don't see anything when I'm engaging in heaven. Other people might say, I don't really understand, but I just am having a really hard time with intimacy with God. And amazingly, a lot of these things can be taken care of through gateway cleansing. So if you think about it, you know how there are gates in the spirit realm. I don't know if you know that, but you read in the Bible that there are these spiritual gates. We also have these gates in us. And so I'll show you this chart, and it gives kind of a really easy way of looking at it. And you can see different gates that you might need to focus on for different things. And so hold on a second. I'm going to share the screen with you. All right, here we go. So can you guys see this okay? Yes, I hope. Okay, I'm not really. Okay, yes, good. All right, so
Okay.
thank you. Okay, so here is, this might be helpful. This right here, this yellow circle is our body. And so we have all of our senses, you know, our eye gate, our nose gate, our ear gate, our mouth gate, and our feeling gate. And then we have this middle circle is the soul, the conscience, reason, imagination, our mind. This is our unconscious, subconscious, and conscious. Emotions, choice, will. And then we have the spirit, which is prayer, fear of God, intuition, revelation, worship, hope, faith, and reverence. And then the very inner circle is this glory of God, and this is our first love gate. And so that's just in the heart of hearts. And so here is an example of what I'm talking about with your gates. So these gates are a way of things coming in and out. And so a lot of times, especially if we have had a lot of sin enter through one of these gates, then it will be blocked by the enemy. The enemy is blocked in this gate. So basically, it's very hard for us to see and hear in the spirit or anything like that. So for instance, say, here's me, okay? So I had not even a very hard time hearing. I didn't hear at all when I was first engaging. I had these kind of words of knowledge that would happen, and I saw certain things, but I mainly felt a lot of things. That's kind of how I interacted with God. And so this ear gate, I didn't realize was totally clogged. And I have had a ridiculous amount of sin that happened in my life through my ears. And I listened to very bad music when I was younger that was full of sin, and about every sin you could think of. Oh, I'm sorry, I have a little one who's interrupting me. I don't know if you can tell. I'm in my bedroom, locked in my room, hoping to have a little privacy, but this happens. So hold on one second, if you will. What is it, sweetheart? Here, come lay with me, okay? Okay, she's going to lay down with me. So I'm sorry, you guys. I hope that you have grace for me. So anyway, this ear gate, I'd struggled a long time with this. I was listening to bad stuff. I admit I would hear pornographic things. I had some trauma that happened that I heard. These are things that the enemy really was like, all right, I've got this gate. And so anyway, I went through some gateway cleansing, and someone showed me, I was having a hard time with this, and they said, have you done gateway cleansing? I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And so they actually showed me this chart, and I started going through different ones as I felt led, and I started with this ear gate. And what I did is I just wrote down everything I could think of that was a sin from my ears. And then I took that to the Mobile Court of Accusations. And if you don't know what that is, go listen to the recording from last week, and that'll help you have an understanding of that stuff. But anyway, so I went to the Mobile Court of Accusations, and I just laid my heart out before God, and I said, here is everything. I am totally repentant. I admit I'm guilty of all of this stuff. And then I asked for the enemy, all of the accusers who were attached to this ear gate, to come in and state any other reasons why they might have legal right to me. And so anyway, then of course I had them judged and sent away. I had them marked and sent away, which is, I think, important so they don't come back and they're an example to others. And when that happened, I think I just felt compelled to do this. It was something that the Lord was impressing on me was very important, was that once I sent the enemy away, that I had either the Holy Spirit or an angel take over that gate. And so I have every time, just depending on what I feel led to do, I will either have the Holy Spirit take over that gate or an angel take over that gate and guard that gate for me. And so I do that every time. So after I dealt with that ear gate, all of a sudden I started hearing in the spirit, and I never had before. I would hear shofars in the spirit. I would hear, I don't even know what it is, just these, I would hear angels coming around. And I actually thought it was in the physical I was hearing, because I'd never experienced that before. And to me, it was I mean, I literally thought, who is blowing a horn? What is happening? I thought that that was happening because, and it was happening in the spirit, but I thought it was happening in the physical because that's the only way I've heard before. And so anyway, I realized, wow, this is powerful. And so, you know, I've gone through several different ones before. Like for instance, in the spirit one, I was talking about this yesterday. One of the ones that I went through next was worship. And I was a worship leader for many years, and God really revealed to me that I had a lot of sin in worship. Though I really loved worship and I loved God, I love worshiping Him, there were times when I would be, you know, I would raise my hands to try to get other people to raise my hands or raise their hands, or I would be doing things like kind of making my voice sound a certain way to impress people instead of to impress God. Or I would even still today, I struggle with this at times where I'll be listening to some people leading worship and I'll be judging how they're doing it. You know, I'll be a little judgmental when it comes to that stuff. And I'm not truly worshiping God. I'm just thinking of the music in it. And so anyway, everybody has their own tendencies and different gates that may be clogged. And you can kind of go through these different gates one by one, just as you feel led. You could do it just, you know, go through them, you know, a couple every day or something like that. I've just done it as I feel led. So every once in a while, God will kind of bring something up to me and I'm like, oh, I bet I need to deal with that. And so that's kind of how I've done it personally. But that's one way of cleansing. So you may, if you're not seeing in the spirit, the eye gate is something you probably should focus on, if that makes sense. I had to tell the story yesterday because I was confused when I saw this nose gate. At first, I'm like, how can someone sin with their nose? And actually, God really convicted me of sinning with my nose. And so I have had a tendency to have very bad food choices in my life. And I had a real struggle with overeating and with an addiction to food. And God, about a year and a half ago, He really cut that stuff off for me and told me certain things that should not go in my body. And I cannot explain it, but I finally had self-discipline with my mouth. And it was amazing. The stuff, I just go, nope, I don't eat that. It's not anything that goes in my mouth. But what I would do is, say it was a brownie or something, you know, I would go and I go, oh, okay, that's all I need. And I would indulge in my nose I wouldn't eat these things, but I would indulge in a way. And God really convicted me that this had to do with my heart, that it was a heart issue. And so anyway, everybody struggles a little differently. I honestly didn't even know that I could be sinning with my nose. And God just showed me that all of these things are related to what we believe about Him. Does He want the best for us, or are we thinking something is better that's our way? And so anyway, like for the nose thing, I was just wanting to indulge in something that wasn't for me. And God showed me was not good for me. And I would do it my way anyway. And so everybody has different ones that they can deal with, and God will bring them up in His time, I really believe. Another way that I'm just going to stop the share right now. I'll post that on the Engaging Heaven class group. So if you guys want to use it, you can do that. And I'll also post another thing I'm just going to talk about now. Okay, I do see a question here. Hopefully Kim, yes, good. Kim is going to do that. Thank you. Anyway, I'll tell you that there is another way that I do cleansing every single day. I do these things twice. I mean, not twice, but 2 of these things every day. The first thing is communion. I don't know if you guys take communion often, but this is something that is really important to me. I take communion every day, and sometimes more times than that, depending on if I get a little fleshy. If I feel like I start falling back into, kind of my soul. You know what I'm saying? Like my mind, will, and emotions are leading and not my spirit. And all of a sudden I realize I am not right now. I need to get right again. Then I go back to communion. And when I do communion, I'll read to you what I do, and we'll do communion later with the same thing. So I hope it won't be boring to you the second time. But I will have to say that one of the things I do is, I always just analyze my heart before God. And I guess I didn't make that clear yesterday. So for those of you who joined in yesterday, I hope that you understand that it's important to always analyze your heart and think about what kind of sin you have lingering, that you can lay before Jesus. But this is something that I adapted from a couple different people, and I just kind of changed it according to what God led me to do, and it kind of changes every time I do it anyway. But I'll read to you just the basics of it, and you'll understand why it has to do with cleansing. Probably most people understand when we take communion, we are engaging in the sacrifice of Jesus, and so that in itself cleanses us when we're being covered by the blood. But this might give a better understanding of even the DNA cleansing. And so this says, I eat your flesh and I drink your blood so that I will not die, but I will live forever. I engage in the DNA of God. I embrace the transforming power of your body and blood, Jesus. I engage the record containing the light, sound, and frequency of God's image for transfiguration. I embrace the record of the dimensions of the kingdom released in my body by the DNA of God. I engage that DNA record and apply it to my bones for health and wholeness and to remove all negative epigenetic hereditary switches. I speak to my marrow and I command it to be a new source of blood that will transform the DNA of my cells so that I can be transfigured and live forever. I apply the frequency of God's DNA to transform me into your image, Jesus. I command every genetic record to be transformed and my DNA to be resequenced into alignment with my eternal image. I apply your blood, Jesus, to transform all impure genetic material. I apply your blood to all iniquitous genetic patterns. I call all my genetic material to resonate with the DNA of God and come into alignment with my eternal image. I choose to bear the record. My eternal image conform to the likeness of my Father and brother in heaven, and to be transfigured to radiate your glory. Let the breath of God be breathed into my life, transforming me into a living being, joined to the Lord in one spirit with him. I speak creative words to my DNA to release the supernatural abilities of God. I trigger the ability to see, hear, and move in the spiritual realm of the kingdom. And I trigger the ability to transform matter and control light and sound like you do, Jesus. And I wrap my spirit around yours right now and thank you for your sacrifice. And so that is what I do every day with communion, sometimes more than once a day, but I feel like it's really important for my daily cleansing, or hourly, depending on how fleshy I get. But for me, I think it's really important to go back through, and I told a story yesterday. I felt like it was really important, and so I'll have to tell you again. I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm going to show, hopefully, there you go. Can you see that? That's my wedding ring. It's on the wrong finger because I lost a lot of weight. And so, but that stone in the middle, that stone was very important to me. It was, that stone was passed down from my great-grandfather to my dad. And when my husband asked for my hand in marriage, he offered that to be put into a wedding ring for me. And so that was made into a wedding ring for me, and it was very special for me. but I found out that that was in my great-grandfather's Mason's ring. And so anyway, Freemasonry is something that can be very evil and has been in my bloodline for a while, and I never dealt with it. And when I got the ring, I felt really special for how it was done, and I just ignored that it had to do with the Freemasons. And one time I was going through communion, and when that happened, God really convicted me about my ring. And he said, you know, are you caring more about this than you're caring about me? Because you received this knowing full well that it's against me. And so when that happened, I just felt horrible, of course, and I just had that cleansing come through me in my bloodline, all of that, breaking off all of the Masonic background. And that was completely cleansed out of my blood. And I just said, God, this is yours. I want nothing to do with the Masons. I totally repent. And he showed me that his blood could even cover this ring. And when that happened, first of all, I felt clean. But I looked, and this ring, it looks different now. It has this clarity that it didn't have before. And this is a reminder to me about what God can do with our lives, even when we feel like it's unredeemable, and when we feel like we're unredeemable, that God can redeem anything. And so this is something that now is very special to me in a different way. Of course, it reminds me of my marriage, but it's also really reminding me of that sacrifice. So sorry, I just cried a little. So Diane, you have your hand raised. Hold on, I'm going to unmute you, or you need to unmute yourself, it looks like. And then you can ask your question.
No, I was raising my hand in agreement to something you said before.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. I'm going to lower your hand then.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. So anyway, there's another way that I do cleansing. One other thing is I offer myself as a living sacrifice every day. And when I do this, it's a little different than, I guess, I grew up. I didn't grow up in the church, but when I feel like I did, because I started in high school, and really I was in the church for a very long time before understanding anything about the heavenly places. And I knew I was supposed to offer myself as a living sacrifice, but I guess that to me just meant live for God. I don't know. I don't think I really had a great understanding of what that was. And so since then, since really engaging the heavenly places, this has become totally different for me. And one of the things that I do is, well, I don't know if anybody here is a hunter or anything like that. I'm from Kansas, and so we have hunters everywhere. So there are lots of people. Okay, yeah, you know. Okay, so anyway, you know that when the sacrifice happened in the Old Testament for our sin, you would bring an animal and you would lay it out as a sacrifice. You bring it to the priest, and then they'd have to basically slaughter it. And when they did this, they quartered it. And so you guys know, if you're a hunter, that you will quarter the deer or something, right? You know what I'm saying? So what I do when I'm offering myself as a living sacrifice, it seems really gruesome, okay? But it's because it's just like a sacrifice. And so I ask Jesus to chop off my head and give me the mind of Christ. I ask him to chop off my arms and let me give and receive like he would. I ask him to chop off my legs and let me go where he wants me to go and do what he wants me to do. I ask him to split me wide open with that sword of the Spirit, that double-edged sword. As my high priest, just split me open and reveal my inner parts, and especially split open my heart and reveal the 4 chambers and burn up all impurity that's in me, to where all I am is pure spirit. And I ask him to lay me on the altar before God as a sacrifice, and to just burn up everything that isn't pleasing to him, and to let me be pure for him. And so that's what I do every day. And then after that, you know, I usually stand before the four faces of God, before the throne. If you guys don't know about that, check it out in Revelation. But anyway, that's something that's powerful to me. And all of the time when this happens, I just feel this difference in my body, and I feel different. I'm totally focused in the spirit when I do that. And so anyway, the communion and the living sacrifice, I have activations on YouTube that I've done before to help people lead them through what I do. And so if you want, I'll just add that to the Engaging Heaven Facebook group too, and you guys can go through that if you feel led. But that's been helpful to me, and so hopefully it will be a blessing to you too. So those are kind of the things that have to do with cleansing that I do. I hope it's helpful to you, and I would like to open up for any questions. And so let's see. First of all, if you have any questions, raise your hand if you want to speak, and then if you don't want to speak, you can put it in the group chat. I can't even believe no questions yet. This is crazy. All right. Oh, I see David has one. Okay, unmute yourself. You can't do it? Okay, hold on a second. Let me see. There. You're unmuted.
Yeah. I just want to know if I do communion, will it count for my little ones as well, because they're too young to do it themselves?
I don't know. I mean, I only do it for me and my young ones. I just have never let them do it until they were ready. And so my youngest is 6, and she now understands communion. I go through this a lot with them, and I would say if they have given their heart to Jesus and you feel like they really have an understanding of the sacrifice, then you can do it with them. Other than that, I believe that you are always just like in the courts, you can bring your little ones who are too young, you know, to understand these things. You can bring them with you and have them stand under the hoopah with you in the spirit. You know, you can just have their spirit come with you. And so it's probably the same with communion, but I can't say that for sure. I mean, I don't really know. I don't have a great answer, I'm afraid.
No, it's no problem. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Okay, Terry, I see your hand is raised. Hold on. There, can you unmute yourself?
How about that?
Great.
Okay, hi everybody.
Hi there.
You were speaking earlier about the ear gate, and I missed how to deal with that altogether. The steps, you know, I mean, well, you know, like when I engage, how do I deal with that?
Okay, well, this is what I do. I go, and I'm not much of a list person myself. I don't really like doing that, but for these things I do. And so like for instance, for the ears, I'm showing you my ears for some reason. That's hilarious. Anyway, for the ear gate, I go and I just make a list of every single thing that I have sinned with my ears about. And so for instance, when I was younger, I used to listen to really hard rap, which is so funny to me now, but I did, and it had all sorts of very bad things like murder and rape and all drugs and all this stuff, okay? There was all this stuff that I was accepting as totally fine to come into my ears. And when this happened, and sometimes, you know, you may watch a lot of movies and deal with your eyes and your ears like that. I don't know. Everybody has different stuff that they've done, but I just go and I list out every single thing I can think of that I have sinned with my ear gate. And then I go and I bring it to the courts. And so I just admit to God my guilt, standing under, you know, Jesus' sacrifice. And so I don't know if I think you did. You were here for last week's mobile court. Yeah, okay. So anyway, I go to the mobile court. stand under a sacrifice, and I just admit my guilt for all of those things. And then I ask for the accusers to come in who are attached to that ear gate. And so when I do that, then of course they're judged after they reveal any open doors that I might have, and they're able to be sent away. And then I have either an angel or the Holy Spirit, depending on how I feel led. I have them go into that gate and guard that gate for me. So yeah, is that helpful?
Yes, I lost the hearing in my right ear during a traumatic pregnancy that I ended up losing. Yeah, can you know, I'm sure there was something connected to that. It was like 20 years ago that I've been prayed for from everybody from here around the world, and it's not moving. Can you add anything to what he might be holding over me, territory-wise, that I could? You know, I've gone to the courts over it, and I've asked for forgiveness, but I don't hear like I want to hear, so I don't have the hearing to hear what he's holding against me.
Yeah, this might be helpful to you. Sometimes I find someone who, like before when I wasn't hearing well, sometimes I would just get words of knowledge about it. And so it would be something that would just pop into my head of, oh yeah, there's that. And so that might be something that happens to you. If nothing's coming to you at all, I would recommend bringing someone with you who hears in the spirit, because, you know, we know several people who hear really well in the spirit and can help you through that. Of course, probably there are many people in this class right now who have that. And so you might just ask if someone would like to go with you to help you hear. And then that can be helpful in bringing up any kind of thing that there would be an open door. And especially, it sounds like that may have been caused by the trauma of the pregnancy. I don't know this for sure, okay, but that's what it kind of sounds like, that this was caused by the trauma of the pregnancy. And so I think it would probably be a good idea to bring that situation to God. And if you feel like there's anyone attached to the trauma of that pregnancy besides just your body, of course, sometimes you can even say, hey, I'm not forgiving my body for this. You know, there are certain things that we need to forgive, you know, ourselves for, and other things we need to forgive other people for. But bring that situation to God and have him redeem that situation, and ask for that whole thing to work out for his glory, so that that pregnancy would be worth something glorious to God, and that it would be for your good and his glory. And I think if you do that, that would probably really change things for you, because it sounds like that trauma is what caused that problem. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah. And okay. You kind of mentioned there might be somebody here that later on, maybe separately from this, would be willing to pray. Did you say that?
Yes, I don't know that for sure, but I would guess.
I got you. But it's a possibility.
Yeah. How about if anyone feels led and you hear in the spirit, if you feel led to help Terry, why don't you just message her privately? That's Terry Lynn Tanner Revels. Is that how you say her name?
Yes.
Yeah. And so you can message her privately, probably either on Facebook or just right here in the chat. You can do private messages. And so if you want to do that, hopefully someone will be able to help you. If not, we can probably hook you up with somebody. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay. Are there any other questions? Okay. Okay, Kim sent me one from Jolanda that I didn't see. Okay, can you also do this cleansing for your loved ones on their behalf? I think that's really tough. The only way, I would say partially, it depends on who they are. If it's, you know, your girlfriend that you love so much, probably not. But if it is someone who is attached to your bloodline, when you do bloodline cleansing, what the amazing thing that happens is, when we have our sin judged, it is erased. It's something that completely God erases and says it never happened. It's thrown as far as the east is from the west. You know that, right? And so when that happens, it's erased from our bloodline, both prior and forward. And so when I do bloodline cleansing, if it has to do with my dad's line, then I'm going to be taking care of some of those problems for him, and I'm going to be taking care of some of those problems for my kids. And so just because I'm dealing with the bloodline cleansing. But if it has to do with their own individual sin and they're an adult, I'm going to say it's probably not going to happen. They're going to have to do it themselves. And so if it's someone who's a little one, like Devette was saying about his little one who, is too young to understand things, then I would say, yeah, you can go in and do that for them, because they don't have their own sin to deal with yet. They will when they have conviction, but they don't yet. And so you'll be able to do that stuff for them. But other than that, everybody has to deal with their own junk. And so, unfortunately, well, I guess it's fortunate, because when we go through this stuff, it draws us closer to God. And so I think he's done this for a reason, that, Jesus will cover us as long as we accept his free gift of sacrifice for us. And when we stand under the chuppah, that his love and sacrifice for us, his blood covering, when we stand under that, then anything can be judged. But everybody has a choice of whether or not they accept that sacrifice. And so if you think about it, if you want it to happen for your girlfriend, if she's a believer, great, but she needs to do it herself. If she's not a believer, then it's not going to be covered. You can't have salvation from your sin without Jesus. And so if she hasn't accepted that as her sin covering, then unfortunately she's not going to have any kind of cleansing. And so, yeah, I hope that that's helpful. Jolanda, was that yours? Yes. Okay, got it. Good. And then it looks like there's another person who, 2 people said that they also need help with hearing as well. So first of all, before I would say this, unless you've already tried to do this gateway cleansing, try to do that first before you ask for someone's help, because I really think that it might be a gateway problem. And so just bring everything you can think of to God in the mobile courts and deal with that first. And if you still have problem with hearing, then just, of course, you can ask for help. So I think that it's important to try to deal with our stuff as a son of God, as one who is not just, we're stepping into responsibility when we are coming before him, and he's showing us that we are the royal priesthood. That means that we're kings and priests. And so we want to be able to deal with our own stuff as much as possible. He will help us through everything. And though it's great to be able to pray together, just make sure that you are doing your part for being responsible. Not saying that y'all aren't, okay? I'm not trying to judge anybody here, but just make sure that you already try to do everything that you can, and then ask for help from people too, okay? Okay, any other questions? Here's something for Terry from one of the people in the group, and she heard it was in the generational bloodline for you, okay? Instead of the trauma that I was thinking, and I do admit that was me, not necessarily God. And so that was just coming from my best guess. So if Liz said she heard it was in the generational bloodline, you should probably deal with bloodline stuff. And then Terry, you have another question?
Yeah, the other day your sister brought something up briefly, and I didn't ask about it, but I would like to now.
Okay.
She said there could be somebody in your life or past that I forgot now how she said it, but I know it's my ex-husband. Like they're speaking over you,
cursing you, basically.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And definitely you know, I don't know how to deal with that. I have prayed the best I can, but I really would like to have that cut off.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, if you know that he's doing that, I would, one, forgive him before God in the courts, ask for blessing over him.
I have.
Okay. And then what I do is part of commanding my morning. And so I'm going to go over that in 2 weeks, but I can tell you a little bit now.
What did you call it?
Commanding the morning. And in fact, if you want, I can, I might have a teaching on that already on YouTube I could send you. But I will be dealing with that in a couple weeks. And so it's something that I do every single day. I actually do it before the morning starts. So, you know, I kind of think of the days like the Jewish calendar. And so I think of it when sundown hits is when the new day starts. And so I always command the morning right before I go to sleep at night. And then so when things start in the morning, it's fresh and the whole night is taken care of as well. And so there's something that actually, you know, I'll just send you this. This will be helpful to you. Grant Mahoney has an awesome little YouTube. It's not very long. I don't remember how long it is, like 8 minutes, I think, or something. But anyway, it's called Command the Morning. And so what I use is very similar to that. It's an adaptation of that. But when I first heard that, it just resonated with me. And I was like, yes, why am I not doing this every day? And so anyway, maybe I'll send you that video, or I'll post it on the group page too, because that's really helpful. But it talks about breaking off any curses. And it talks about the enemy who's assigned to you, that all of their plans be null and void. I mean, it's all of the stuff that is very helpful to do all the time, because here's how I learned this, really just through God teaching me this. And so, of course, I want to reiterate, anything I say, please test it, take it before the Lord. I believe it's true. I wouldn't say it, but, you know, I'm also human. So anyway, one of the things that I've learned is that there are certain things that we need to do every single day that for some reason, and I can't explain it, it has to do with God's system, but certain things need to happen every day because there's a new start every day. And so I don't even understand that personally, because I know that heaven's time is different than our time, but somehow, maybe it's because of the Jewish calendar, I don't know, but like when you command your angels, I don't know if you guys have ever done that before, but if you command your angels, you need to talk to them every day about setting, like being guard at these gates. That's something that's very helpful. I didn't realize that before. And I was like, well, I told him to do this. How come that wasn't happening? You know, and God just said, you aren't taking the responsibility here. It's actually your fault. And so it had to do with me. And so he showed me there are certain things that need to happen every day. And that command the morning thing is something that needs to happen every day. And so I'll post that video for you, and hopefully it will be a blessing and it will give you some victory and all that.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay, here's another one. Christine, do you first have to work through the inner gates before you get to the ear gates? I would say it's opposite, actually. I would work through the outer gates before you work through the inner gates. I say that. There are certain things that God may lead you to. So if he leads you to an inner gate, by all means do that. But these outer gates, they kind of lead to the inner gates. And so if you have an outer gate clogged, you could have a problem with intimacy, your first love gate, and it's really because one of the outer gates is clogged. And so the outer gates, I think, should come first, and then the inner gates, and then, of course, the most inner. I don't know how to say that, but I think that that would be helpful to do it that way, because I think that more often than not, our outer gates are clogged or are blocked, and that's what's causing problems on our inner man. And so anyway, I hope that's helpful. Okay, any other, Kim, did I miss any others? Okay, is there a list of issues that can help you identify which gates? That's complicated. Okay, let's see. I would say generally it's pretty self-explanatory. So your eye gate, seeing, your nose gate, smelling. By the way, I don't know if you guys know that you can smell in the spirit too, but I have a couple friends, my sister Kim is one of them, who they smell incense and stuff all the time. In fact, they have certain smells that will come when the enemy's around, and certain smells that will come when angels are around, and all of that. And so it's interesting. I don't smell that very much, so I probably need to deal with my nose gate. Glad I'm going through this. Anyway, but I think that that's something that you can kind of tell certain things that are attached to that. So your mouth gate, you know, that would have to do with words, with eating, with all of that. Your feeling, you know, for me, I'm a feeler. That's how I'm made. But I also can be a little needy when it comes to feeling, if you know what I mean. And so I can do a lot of things in my body for feeling that is sinful. And so you guys know what that is, I'm sure. Everybody has different things. That's funny. Connie said, I smell cigarette smoke for addiction and other smells of foul smells from time to time. So does Kim. Kim always smells this really, really strong cigarette smoke, especially when the enemy's around. That's really funny. So it's almost like the Old Testament when the priest went into the tabernacle, the outer court, inner court, and the most holy. That's exactly what it is, actually. I'm glad you said that. That's exactly what this is. We are made. It's so funny because you know how we are the temple? This is the temple. This is how we're made. It's just exactly that Holy of Holies is that glory of God, first love gate. And you see, it's just exactly like that. So yes, I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, how do I discern when I have given legal entry to the enemy? Anything that is sin, you have given legal entry. And so basically, you could do this in a major way, or you can do this in a really subtle way. How do you discern it? Well, you can do that in the mobile courts when you're listening to the accusations, or for me, I just sometimes ask God to reveal it to me, and I sometimes have to wait a little bit, okay? So sometimes people ask for God to reveal something and then nothing comes immediately and they're like, well, that didn't work. And I think it's important to just really wait on him. And then all of a sudden he'll bring back memories to you that you didn't even think were hidden in there anymore. And he'll bring back a memory to you and go, wow, okay. And sometimes God, even to me, has been way less subtle about it. I have to tell you, one time I was driving through the city on my way home from another place in another state. And I was with my husband and we needed to go to the bathroom. So I don't know if you guys use GPS, but we were using GPS, and we did the little thing where it directs us to the little convenience store. And so the gas station, when we did that, we pulled off and that gas station was closed. So then we made it take us to another gas station. And when that happened, it directed us through all these residential parts for some reason. And we went through all these residential parts. I'm like, I don't know, but I'll just follow whatever it says. And we came to this T in the road, and right in front of me was this ex-boyfriend's house from years and years ago that I completely forgot about, I'll be honest. Didn't even remember I was in the same area. And I was like, oh, I need to deal with that. That's some cleansing. And so it was like immediate. It's like God was saying, hello, you forgot about this. You need to have this cleansed too. And so it was really good. But sometimes God will just do weird stuff to bring stuff up to us that we know we need to have cleansing about. And so I don't know. Everybody's relationship with him is a little different. So your discernment will come, I think, as you grow in intimacy with him. And it will probably, if it's like me, it may be a 2x4 over the head. But okay, so yes, you're welcome. Let's see. Connie said, I smell cigarette smoke too when fear is trying to take over. I believe that. It's very strange that, I don't know. I haven't smelled that, but Kim was saying this before, and she said it was just like there was someone smoking right in her face. And that was how strong of a smell it was. And it was very strange. We're like in the middle of the church where, of course, no one's smoking right around us. And so anyway, it was really interesting how that was happening. Okay, any other questions? Okay, oh, wait, here, Terry has one. Terry, you want to unmute?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I'm really looking forward to dealing with this ear gate and hoping that's going to open up some new things for me, because a lot of this stuff is super old, and I'm really tired of dealing with all of it. But I've often wondered, especially with all the new ministries popping up, and especially in the courts of heaven, are there any places that you know of where the small intimate groups can gather for people like myself that's had a difficult time with lots of stuff? Although I go into the courts myself and I read and I study and I do what I can. Like I said, I'm like 54 and I'm just tired of all of it, and I want it off of me so I can get on with life. There's a lot of things I need to do for other people other than just myself. Yeah. So are there any groups like that that you know of, that people offer? You travel, somewhere, or
Yeah. I can't remember where you're from again. Can you tell me again, please?
I'm in Virginia.
Virginia, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure of any in Virginia. I do know, now I'm in Kansas, and what we do is we have this in our gathering. We have groups that meet both in person and online simultaneously. And so there are a couple people in this group right now who are in my mentoring group. And so it's a pretty small, at least at the moment, it's pretty small, probably anywhere from 5 to 15 people at a time in the group. And that has been really good. We engage every week together, and that has been really good to grow together and also use each other's gifts when we engage. And that has been really helpful. So after this little 6-week session is over, we're going to open up our mentoring groups that we have at the source to everyone to see if they would like to join in. And so what we ask is just $7 a month if you can. And if you can't, that's okay too. But if you can, $7 a month to be sewn into the source for the technology costs that are growing. And so we have these different people who have been walking this for a little while and are happy to help, and that's what the mentoring groups are for. And so even if it's not in your area, it might be helpful to you still. But I'll also be looking for something that's in your area. I don't know of anyone right now who has that going on, but I'll look around and see.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay, any other questions? How would you determine if a prophet was taping into the wrong frequencies? How do you test the spirit? That's an interesting question. I don't really know. You need to have someone who has the discernment of spirit. So for me, it just comes naturally. I can tell if someone's off base. I can tell if they have good intentions, but they're off base, and I can tell if they are trying to trick people and are off base. That's just something that comes pretty easily for me. There are other people who have the gift of discernment. If this is something that you really want, but you don't have, just ask for it. Ask the Lord for that gift of discernment. It's a fruit of the Spirit. Well, it's not really a fruit of the Spirit, it's a gift of the Spirit. But it's something that I really believe as we grow in intimacy with the Lord, we start becoming one with him, and all of those gifts start pouring into us as we start to look more like him. And so even though one thing might be really strong in me and another thing be really strong in Shirley, we can continue to grow in these things to where pretty soon we start looking like him and all of these gifts start manifesting in us. And so I would just recommend asking for that. Let's see, when they tell you something discussed in private, but you're not sure if it's the Father revealed it to them. Yeah, I think that's really important, because that's why I was saying test everything I say. I really think you need to go to Jesus and just ask him. And if you don't know what he's saying to you, I would still continue to do, I would continue to seek him more, continue to do the gateway cleansing, all of that sort of stuff too. Devet said, a false prophet will always boast in himself or herself. They will talk more about them than about Jesus. Yeah, that's about true. So yeah, there are certain things you can tell if they're not having the fruit of the Spirit. Peace, patience, love, joy, gentleness, self-control, all of that stuff. If these are not things that they are exuding, then I would for sure test it, or not just test it, but question it. But at the same time, there are people who can fake those things really well. And so I think it's important to just be on guard, and anything that sounds a little weird, I would, test it, take it to the scriptures and say, hey, does this go against who God is? Or is this something that lines up with who he is? Because not everything that God does is going to be in the scriptures, but it's going to line up with his character. And the scriptures are our plumb line. This will keep us straight. And so we need to make sure that everything we do does not go against who God is and who we've known him to be in the scriptures. I think that it's really important that everything we do go back to that. Okay, I think that's it for that. Any other questions? Sure, you're welcome. Okay. All right. Okay. Great. And Kim, I just got your message. Thank you very much. All right. Well, how about let's just engage in heaven together? Does that sound good? Okay. First thing first, if you have it available, go get some communion elements. If you don't want to, that's okay too. I'm just going to use my water that I have here. I like to do it mainly in the Spirit, but if it's something that helps you to be able to experience it, I think that for sure get some communion elements. I'll give you just a couple minutes. Oh, I was saying to get communion elements. So basically like wine and bread, or something that you want to substitute, but basically something that can be the body and blood of Jesus. All right, well, let's get started, shall we? I'm going to turn off my video, but you can still hear me, okay? And you feel free to do the same if you'd like. We'll get comfortable. Jesus, we just want to commit our imagination to you right now. Sanctify our imagination and take over right now so that anything that we experience will be from you. And it will not be from the enemy, and it will not be from our own mind, will, and emotions, but it will just be completely led by your Spirit. Thank you, Jesus. And right now, we'd like to ask that you take us to the Father's house. Thank you, Lord. And if there's anything that you experience, feel free to unmute yourself and you can say it out loud, or you can write it in the chat box. Okay? Just be mindful of other people and keep your line muted if you're not talking. But right here, when we come in, this is God's house, where it's huge. It kind of looks like the White House except for gold, and everything inside of it is pure gold. Not everything, but all of the furnishings and everything. And so I don't know if you guys can see all this or experience it. But there's even this couch that is made out of gold, and it's still kind of squishy like a couch, except for it's golden. And there's a fireplace that is gold, and this giant long banqueting table. And at the far end is the Father. And then at this end over here is where Jesus is sitting, and he's inviting us to sit with him. And I see both angels and saints coming to join us here. Thank you, Lord. And Jesus, thank you for just loving us and inviting us to be with you. And we want to just open up our hearts to you. And right now, just search your heart. And if there's anything that you feel like you need forgiveness for, or that is unsettling to you, lay that out before Jesus. Thank you, Lord. And right now, Jesus, we want to take your sacrifice that covers us. And we want to eat of your body and your blood and take that inside of us. And right now, we eat your flesh and we drink your blood so that we will not die, but we will live forever. We engage in the DNA of God that's carried inside of you. We embrace the transforming power of your body and blood, Jesus. We engage the record containing the light, sound, and frequency of God's image for transfiguration. I embrace the record of the dimensions of the kingdom released in my body by the DNA of God. I engage that DNA record and I apply it to my bones for health and wholeness and to remove all negative epigenetic hereditary switches. I speak to my marrow, and I command you to be a new source of blood that will transform the DNA of my cells so that I can be transfigured and live forever. I apply the frequency of God's DNA to transform me into your image, Jesus. I command every genetic record to be transformed and my DNA to be resequenced into alignment with my eternal image. I apply your blood, Jesus, to transform all impure genetic material. Be transformed. I apply your blood to all iniquitous genetic patterns. Be cleansed. I call all my genetic material to resonate with the DNA of God and come into alignment with my eternal image. Thank you, Lord. I choose to bear the record of my eternal image, conform to the likeness of my Father and brother in heaven, and to be transfigured to radiate their glory. Jesus, we want your glory, and we want to reflect the glory of the Father. And God, breathe your breath into our lives and transform us into living beings joined to you in one spirit with you. I speak creative words, those words that will create in me. I speak those words to my DNA to release the supernatural abilities of God. I trigger the ability to see, to hear, and to move in the spiritual realm of the kingdom. And I trigger the ability to transform matter and control light and sound just like you do, Jesus. And we wrap our spirits around you. And we just want to be one with you. Thank you. And there's a big feast here on the table. And I get the feeling that there are certain saints who are wanting to interact with us. And so if you feel led, do that. Or maybe you feel led to eat from the food in heaven or drink more of the wine. You might feel led to go and receive a gift from Jesus or from Father, or maybe give a gift to them. And I just want to say, Elaine, I saw two angels coming right over you. Thank you. And if there's anything you're experiencing, feel free to share to encourage other people and help them see and hear too. Jolanda said, I see Jesus calling me to come and sit on his lap, letting me come over here. I see these things. That's funny. Okay. Elizabeth said, I smell flowers. I was just going to say, I was seeing these things that look like tiny little white flowers or flower petals falling from the sky, kind of, except for it wasn't sky because we're inside, but just I don't know. It's like the ceiling, except for the ceiling's open. I don't know. Thank you, Lord. And Devet said, I see all of us wrapping ourselves around Jesus, but he's a tree, like the tree of life, this huge tree. Thank you. I'm just getting this feeling that he's wanting us to go to this treasury room. And I know some of you here have been to it. But we're being led down this long hallway, and there are rooms on either side. There are lots of rooms, and all these rooms have a different purpose. But Jesus is leading us like by the hand. I'm being led by the hand, and I feel like I'm holding on to everyone else's hand, but maybe you're holding on to Jesus' hand too. And then he's leading us into this treasure room. And there are all sorts of things in here that are for us. And so just ask him or ask one of the angels. There are a couple of angels in here. Ask them what they have for you and just receive whatever they have for you that's from the treasure room. I was just given this really large and ornate golden menorah. And it's funny because he'd already given me a menorah a long time ago, but it was smaller and not so pretty. And it's to help light people on fire with the 7 spirits of God. And so I'm just seeking him on what he wants me to do with this, if it's just more powerful or what. Someone received a gold coin, a golden trumpet, a white robe or gown, a golden sword. That's awesome. I got a base that projects. It's cool. And then someone said, I just feel my eyes are on fire. And a lamp. I'm going to focus in on you, Katrina, and see if I can see anything. Oh, that's cool. And just so you know, you may get more than one thing. You could get lots of things. Katrina, I saw for you this this really beautiful, it's like a candlestick, but it had the candle in it, and the candle is burning. And so I would just ask him, you know, what is this for? What am I supposed to do with it? And then Adriana saw a harp. Yvonne said coins and water from angels, and Jesus gave me the gold base that projects. Yeah. And then Jolanda said, I feel a person with right breast issue being healed. Thank you, Lord. And then Devette said, the Lord told me, like a trumpet makes noise, be a voice for my people. Wow, wow, wow. Yes. Liz said, I'm seeing an ear pop open. And Devette, did you see that Kim said, yes, I was seeing this for you as well. Awesome. I see that there are 2 books in here, and I feel like they're for 2 different people. And usually, by the way, I've never seen this come out of a treasury room. It's always come from the throne room. But they are books of destiny. So you can have a destiny scroll or a book of destiny. But this is somebody's book of destiny. There are 2 of them. So if you have been maybe seeking your identity or what you're here for, see if these are for you. Deanna said someone's in transition. That's cool. Katrina said, I got a word about Daddy would be helping me with my identity in him. And I see that someone is receiving a ring. Like a ring that goes on your finger kind of ring. Di said, I received a new crown. My old was taken and replaced with a new one. So if you haven't done this, you guys, if you would just ask Jesus what you need to do with it, these things, if it's something you need to put somewhere, sometimes I'll just feel like there's a bag on my back it's supposed to go in, or he's given me a home, like a house there where I can put things, and just ask him if there's a specific use for these things, if he's wanting us to just enjoy them, or if they're supposed to be used in battle or to release revelation to people or whatever. Yvonne said, I see a vehicle-like thing coming toward us in the room, and there are angels on the sides all the way down the hall. Huh, that's cool. I believe this goes on the projectile base. All right, are we supposed to climb in the vehicle? That's fun. I felt like it was kind of a chariot sort of thing. All right. Well, I'm climbing in. Feel free. All right, I hope you guys are ready, because I already felt like we were shooting off. And if you're not, come along. I know that it's not too late. We're just coming. That's so funny. We're coming. At least this is what I'm feeling. I hope you guys are resonating, but I'm feeling like he just shot us off, and then we're being just dropped into the river of life, right by the tree of life. And there's refreshing and healing here. And I see some people like playing in the water and other people just floating peacefully. And it's like Jesus is holding us up. I feel like kind of this giant base. Bertie said she sees us taking these things to our mountain. Yes, go ahead and do it. You feel led. If there are things that, if God's telling you to go somewhere, go do it. Yvonne said, I see like a V and it's where the rivers meet, refreshing, flowing area. Devet says, I see some of us having a race with the fish in the water, trying to see who wins. That's funny. Someone else said, Mama and I are floating in inner tubes. One time I was floating in an inner tube, and then it just turned into Jesus' arms. And Bertie said, I agree with the river refreshing our gifts. Yvonne said, running through the grass, but the grass is moving by itself. I see all these jewels at the bottom of the river. And I feel like they're for us, just kind of because we're special or something, just saying, here, these are for you. Yes, Yvonne said, diving down and receiving gems. On the tree of life, there's some fruit. And if you feel like it, you can go and take this fruit. Deanna said, at the top of the mountain, down to the river, being refreshed in his presence brings life. Harry said, I feel heat on my face. Devet said, I got a purple one. Stephanie said, see a treasure box and golden boots. Yvonne said, a gem sort that has scale-like on the sides. Elizabeth said, I got a red one. Liz said, seeing tumors and trauma wrapped in tumors being released and disposed of, being released out of people's bodies and souls, trauma released, immediate release. Thank you. I'm just feeling so refreshed in this water. Like what my body has been needing. Thank you, Jesus. Now I'm just laying kind of on the banks of the river on the side by the tree of life and just laying with Jesus, resting on him. Yvonne said, in the vehicle again with fire under it. Bertie said, such joy and laughter at the river, so much activity, yet so full of peace and love. Devette said, Theory, I hear the Lord say you must climb up the tree. And then someone said, bubbling water and laughter, such joy and love in his presence, me as a little girl. Yolanda said, I see doing some paintings at a great speed. It's okay, I can't. Yvonne said, taking a ride in this vehicle. Well, Jesus, we could go on for hours, and we love you, and we're so thankful that we have a time where we can see new things and experience more intimacy with you and cleansing and more rest, more refreshing. Thank you so much for leading us and guiding us. And thank you so much for loving us. Thank you for every person in this group who has just added so much to make this experience rich for everyone. We love you and thank you for bringing us together. Continue to teach us and help us to grow, please. We want to dedicate this time to you and ask that you keep us focused in the heavenly realms. Thank you, Jesus. Amen. This is good. Liz said, the blind will see, deaf will hear, seeing people coming into clarity. And Elizabeth said, just seeing me sing while dipping my feet into the river, feeling refreshed and peace in his presence. Yes, you know what? It has been a blessing to be with you guys, and I know that he will continue to bring us into new and different places and cleanse us of all of our weirdness. But I appreciate you guys, and thank you for sticking with us, and thanks, Deborah. Anyway, if you guys need anything, hit me up. Next week, we're going to be talking about identity, so hopefully it'll be amazing. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Okay?
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Christine.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Miss Kim.
Bye.
Yes, thank
Bye.
you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
Bye. God bless everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good time. Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.